A man's wife accidentally texts him instead of her affair partner. Apparently, I missed my wife's lover by only a few minutes. I found out when she texted me accidentally instead of him. Reddit, when did you know for sure it was over? I went on a business trip this weekend and got home at 6:25 a.m. I didn't want to wake her and the kids, so I sat quietly in the living room watching TV. A few minutes later, I get a text from her. Thanks for staying over, babe. I love sleeping next to you. Obviously, I wasn't here last night. I'm still on the couch and haven't responded. I think she went back to sleep and has no idea she accidentally texted me. Monday, I had to go to work before confronting her. I think it was better anyway, since it gave me time to think about what to say instead of rushing to anger. I asked my assistant to go to the 7-Eleven next door and see if they had Shiner Bock. If they don't, I'll ask him to go as far as Publix. For science. She finally texted me at work and said that her girlfriend stayed over. I didn't respond. Update, Tuesday. I left work last night and went to dinner with one of my work partners. I didn't say a word to my wife when I came to bed. In the morning, I mentioned the text after I woke up. I told her I was surprised she would use that language with a girlfriend. She broke down and admitted that she had a platonic girlfriend and an ex-boyfriend over while I was away. She admitted it wasn't the first time. I calmly told her I would have to think about how I felt about the situation and let her know whether we should separate. Thanks, Reddit, you prepared me for the worst in advance. It's nice to get the hive mind's opinion sometimes before jumping into a rash and complicated situation or acting brash and angry as a reaction. I really appreciate everyone's comments and help figuring out the next steps. Relevant comment. I thought it could be innocent, but I've only heard her call one other person babe. I also considered that she wanted me to know, and her subconscious sabotaged her. There are a lot of suggestions in the original post as to what he should do. Update. Well, guys, I'm a big dumb idiot. She knew I was home and just wanted me to come up. When have any of you misread a text message and almost ruined everything? Or at least, I really wish that's how it happened. It didn't. It turns out I was right when I posted this thread. I missed her longtime lover by just under 15 minutes. Edit, guys, before I moved out, I saw 2 lawyers and talked to an old frat buddy lawyer in my state who also happens to work at the state attorney's office. They all said that moving out wouldn't hurt my case, but pulling all of my finances away from the family would. That's abandonment. Leaving an unsafe situation for the good of you or your children isn't abandonment. F me, right. I'm very sorry to abandon Reddit without an update to this thread since Tuesday. A hazy fog of disbelief has clouded my world. Everything happy has disappeared. The quiet nuclear family life, 2 kids, a dog, a 4-bed home in the suburbs. Since Tuesday morning, I have learned this has happened before. She took him to an expensive hotel on the beach near our home to eat at the award-winning restaurant. I introduced her to this place on our anniversary last year. She revealed to me that she is interested in a swinger lifestyle, and she's already been to swinger clubs with him and the girlfriend. She wants to keep our marriage together but wants to keep the lover as well. The funny thing is, I'm not a jealous person. Neither am I controlling or demanding, nor do I think that I can force someone to love only me. If she hadn't gone secret agent on me and tried to hide it, I would have considered it. I've moved out of the house and into my office until I can find a condo or apartment close to our primary home and my daughter's school. I've given my lead engineer all of our bank information so he can run the company in case I get held up with any problems. I wonder how many Redditors were hoping it was just a mistake. Alas, life sometimes has a way of being as entirely predictable as you imagined it would be. TLDR, life could be so much simpler if it had been a misunderstanding. It wasn't. She was cheating, hiding, and using our family's money to do it. Relevant comment. More information about what went down. I wasn't going to move out originally. A lot has happened since Tuesday night. During one of our discussions about this lover, things turned argumentative, then violent. She has a history of violence. Names were called, fists were thrown, and eventually objects were broken. She called the police and claimed she wanted me out. The police sided with me and said there was no evidence I accused her, so they couldn't ask me to leave my own home. My daughter watched, not being able to go to bed while the police questioned Daddy. I left for a friend's house and got severely drunk on whiskey. The next morning, I returned home and demanded she leave. She left for about 20 hours while I took care of the kids. She came back at night, locked herself in the bedroom, and texted me that the kids needed her and she couldn't abandon them. I told her there was no way to live with the violence, and one of us had to leave. Sadly, I had to be that person. I have been going to the house every morning to wake up with them and at night to put them to bed. I will rent a new place that can hold all of us and move there in the next few weeks. Then, she can move wherever she can afford on her own. Thank you. It's not like it was an easy decision to make, and I pray it doesn't bite me in the arse later. But you know what would be worse? Staying, getting into another fight. Having the police come again and having not so understanding police officers again. You know what would be worse than losing my house in a divorce? Going to jail because the police believed her story. Screwing up my life, my company, my future, and the future of my kids and their family income, the money they need to eat, etc. Staying would be so much worse. The rest of it, I can deal with. I am not an absentee father, and she'd have to make up evidence in court if she wanted to somehow prove that I was, whether or not I am sleeping in the marital home. Final update. This is an update to the story where I caught my wife cheating in a text message, and when I confronted her, she admitted to having multiple affairs and a secret swinger lifestyle. Thank you to those following my quirky non-fiction story. Sadly, this is true. For our men's rights, I feel like I should keep a log to help other men when they find themselves in the same situation. 1,000 other people are facing the same situation I am in today. I couldn't spend another night in the bed she had other people in. I'm not a prude. But the lying, cheating, and stealing ended our marriage faster than a cancer eating away at your insides. And it hurt just as bad. I've left my career as a successful engineer. I put the company in the hands of my highest executive and told him I might not be back. I still offered to fly in to close any big sales. This season of my life is over. I've moved on, and it's time for some shake-it-up life-altering changes. I have $100,000 in open personal credit, $50,000 in open company credit, a paid-off car, enough savings and residual income to not work for 6 months. I have 2 kids who depend on me in every way, financially and stability-wise. I've already done the typical bachelor stuff you forget about when you're married, upgraded to an iPhone, purchased new wheels and speakers for my mid-level luxury sports car, upgraded my battle station, and took a vacation to Disneyland. OMG, really? I'm getting so much hate for this. Yes, I talk like a teenager on Reddit. Is that a crime? I want a new life. Reddit, what would you do? What do you do? Travel, buy SHT, work out until you look like an Olympic athlete. Spill your guts, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me about your midlife crisis successes and failures. Relevant comments. Why did you leave your job? I did what made a lot of money and loved every minute of it. But I realized I started liking the sales part of the business and not the execution as much. My true passion is elsewhere. I am hoping to break into the special effects industry. Practical effects, explosions, model building, etc. I've been around computers too long, and I just can't do it anymore. What I would give to have worked on a Nolan Batman flick, rigging lights for a SFX shot. Well, I also have residuals from my company still coming in every 2 weeks. Not exactly as high as my take-home pay, but still enough to be okay. More about custody. We're splitting the kids, realistically. For the moment they live in the primary home, but several nights of the week they are here, and I put them to bed and wake up with them. Eventually I will move back to the primary home or move the kids here permanently, and let the ex-wife take them several days out of the week. It was just a compromise, since I'm the one materially supporting the household, their food, clothes, gas, etc. What does this have to do with men's rights? From the other thread, there was a lot of debate about how I should handle the ex, kick her to the curb versus a more empathetic approach. Whether or not I should fight for full custody, etc. I'm trying to make it out alive and hopefully document some of it for other people going through the same from a man's POV. OOP continued to post sporadically up until about 3 years ago. He did leave one more comment in relation to his ex-wife. I was married to a woman who couldn't wait to pass away so she could get to heaven, because her dad was there. Thank you for watching the video.